It's another beautiful morning, bright and early, right here on Channels Television. And this is the Morning Brief. Welcome to the show. I'm Jeffrey Uzonga.
I'm Kayode Okikilo. I'm sure you're wondering what is going on. Why is there an empty seat?
There's a reason.
There's a reason for
Where is
that.
Bukola?
That's a big question. So we're going to have to stand up for this one. Ladies and gentlemen.
Special introduction to the one and only.
And wow, they're joining us for the very first time on the Morning Brief. Just imagine it. It's all around. I
don't want the standing ovation.
You are more than the confetti, so there's no need for that. And welcome to the Morning Brief.
I'm going to survive this show in the next 2 hours.
Let's brace up for this one.
All right, guys. Good morning. Thank you. I'm feeling like a very special guest.
Oh, you are. Absolutely are.
Okay.
So the elephant in the room, Bukola is away just for a few days out of the country on an official assignment. So we have Anne joining us, bringing all of that shine, all of that brilliance, beauty, and brains on the show. How does it feel to be on the Morning Brief?
It feels different. I'm saying it's like deja vu right now. I used to do the morning show on, I mean, that was a long time ago, many years ago. So waking up in the morning now is like, this is punishment.
It's tough, right?
It's very tough.
Because you're on the flagship
especially when you're nocturnal like me.
Right.
You're only active at night. I mean, it's very difficult to wake up in the morning. But I mean, it's for our viewers, so we're here. Thank you very much.
That from the nocturnal morning.
A nocturnal den. And brought it to the morning hours of the show. So, tell us, what should we be expecting from you?
Oh, today on the show. Is it on the show or from me?
From
because
you
from
now.
me, I need you guys to drop some, for being on the show for the first time. Why are you guys not bringing, I should say champagne here?
I'll give you my mug.
What is the mug supposed to do for me?
This is special to me, Anne.
Special to you, so this is also special to you.
It's kind of, see why I say whether we're going to survive 2 hours.
Okay.
We've not started the show. It's still barely 2 minutes past 7, and it's calling the... I don't want to use it.
She's like NRC. She's billing us now.
She's already billing us. She's already billing us.
Anyway, that's one of the things we're going to see on the show
Absolutely.
today. The billing.
Just before we get to all of the details of the show today, as I was driving down, I saw that there was traffic inbound Lagos. So just a bit of traffic alert for everyone who is coming into Lagos. I think a trailer or something, there was an accident. I don't know when it happened, but just moments ago, we saw that trailer, they've not moved it. Another is behind that particular trailer. So there's a buildup of traffic if you're coming into Lagos just before the Kara Bridge. So you have to be patient, I guess, and I'm sure that maybe in a few hours, few moments from now, the authorities will do something to allow free flow of traffic. But if you're coming into Lagos, just before the Kara Bridge is where it happened. So I don't know how far back that incident happened. So just a brief traffic alert for everyone who is coming into Lagos, just to brace up and get ready if you're using the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway just before Kara Bridge. So a little update for you there if you're coming into Lagos.
So there you go. That's what we're all about. All of the alerts. You have it right here. So plan your trip.
Yes,
but guess what? We have such a bumper package for you.
Oh, we do.
Who best to start off? And what do we have on the show this morning?
All right, so on the show this morning, I mean, after months of debate over a proposed increase in electricity tariff, as Jeffrey had said earlier, which is already giving people heartache. I mean, the price adjustment has finally happened with the announcement by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC. It has now approved an increase of 300% electricity tariff for Band A consumers in the country. And this is coming amid the supply of darkness. I mean, if you consider the many power grid collapses, I don't know how many we've had for this year. Will increased tariff produce stable power supply? Everyone is asking, but we'll definitely find out on the show.
Absolutely. Now, that's not all we'll be talking about. Let's talk about life at sea. It's not for the faint-hearted. Imagine men being on the shore for months, cut off from normal life, even families for years at that, and they're having to endure poor pay, sometimes weather, above all, the daily danger of the sea and the weather. But today, we're celebrating a woman who has weathered all of that storm at sea as well, one of Nigeria's very few master mariners. She'll be joining us on the show to tell us how she survived, and she survived this particular space.
You want to brace up for that conversation, but that's not all. No debit alerts are allowed on the show this morning, only credit alerts. Well, this is just because it's credit alert crooner Kocee who joins us to provide that exciting vibe that gets you on your feet. A tune that's also a testament to the possibilities that great things can happen when Nigeria and Cameroon set their jollof differences, their football differences aside. So we have Cameroonian singer Kocee joining us on the show this morning.
Kocee is going to be like our second Cameroonian guest after Libyanka.
Absolutely.
So, in a few months we've been on air on the show, so we have a second Cameroonian. So we love our Cameroonians.
Oh, yeah.
So did she bring jollof or anything when she came?
No, she didn't bring. Do we have Cameroonian jollof contest in any form or shape?
So there is. It's been added to the.
But I've never heard Cameroonian. I mean, someone trended last. Someone trended last week. A food critic who trended about Senegalese rice.
Right,
You remember,
yeah,
right?
I remember.
But Cameroonian jollof, I'd like to know what that tastes like.
I think the introduction of, if I stand to be corrected, but if I remember, it was the former Minister of Information that brought us that we didn't see that battle coming. They were asking him Ghana
and Nigeria.
And he just
Alhaji Lai Mohammed said Senegal. I don't know whether I was trying to settle an altercation
or trying to add one to it.
The battle between Nigeria and Ghana is already enough. I don't think we need another
then,
one.
Well,
Senegal has been trying to get around, but hey, it's still the battle between Nigeria and Ghana about this jollof, which is spicier, which is more, all of that. But Cameroon, we don't know yet. But don't forget as well that it's a community show. It's where we amplify your voice. So your contributions, your thoughts are very vital to us. Post on X, CTV Morning Brief is where you send your messages to. And just do the hashtag CTV Morning Brief. Also on our WhatsApp, send your messages and your videos. In case you're in that particular traffic we just spoke about on 3rd Mainland Bridge, inbound Lagos just before Kara, we'd also like to see that video as well. So that's the number. We say don't call that number. Kindly send the messages and the video. As soon as we verify those videos and messages, we will be here to amplify your voice right here on the show.
And don't forget to also go to X, go to everywhere you can send your videos, your messages. Would like to hear from you on the show, and we'll definitely be talking about a lot today.
You know, as I say, Anne is just a
I'm very interested in the female marina. I have a lot of questions for her. You know, I like when women achieve great feats, very rare feats, especially in a male-dominated field.
About 30 years, I understand she's been in that space.
Wow.
That's loads of years. So there's a lot to talk about today, from electricity tariff. Band A, do you belong to that particular band? Are you one of the big boys?
I think
well,
I was talking to the net guys and I said, for those people who don't have lights, is it like band no alphabet or something? People are now adding band F.
Band nothing.
So all of that band conversation, we'll try to bring it to the show and find out what it means to all of us. But people are not quite happy that increases are happening right now when the grid is collapsing. That grid behaves like a lap sugar. We need to pump in some energy.
It's snoring right now. We need to pour some water.
But hey, we'll take this break and we'll bring us our top stories. Join us again.
Absolutely. It's the morning brief, guys.
Guys, we told you earlier we have loads and loads of things for you today. But before we begin, let's give you some of the top stories we have today. I mean, it was an unusual Wednesday for most residents of Doma local government area who woke up to an aftermath of a windstorm which occurred on Tuesday night in Ipono community. The windstorm also left many persons injured. Several houses, public infrastructure, all destroyed, leading to the displacement of thousands of people.
What is our own mission now is to call the federal government and state government and the local government to come to our aid so that we can find some other things to our people to repair what is damaged.
And it's not just Nasarawa State that suffered from the fallout of the windstorm. At Tukum local government area in Taraba State, it was also affected by the windstorm, destroying property worth millions of naira, including houses, worship centers, shops, and even vehicles were all affected in this horrible incident. A heavy downpour took place after the windstorm, which wreaked havoc on the residents. Governor Abu Kefas visited some of those affected communities to assess the damage caused by the windstorm.
Before now, we don't have we've not had this experience before, but about 3 years ago, there are a lot of cutting down of trees, madri everywhere. And so I think that is what resulted to this windstorm that we're experiencing right now in Taku. I think this should be one of the things should be put in law. Should be a law that government should put that no one should cut down trees, and they should also encourage planting of trees. That will also reduce these epidemics.
We really lose a lot of things, and there is no money. We want government to help us, because we are passing through a lot. We have gone around Takum town and we have seen the enormous destruction that was done by the windstorm. His Excellency has directed that a quick assessment be carried out by the community leaders, including the chairman of the local government, the community leaders of the faith, the Christian and the Muslim community, including the traditional ruler of Takum. They should have a quick assessment of what has happened and then bring their recommendation for him immediately for support.
And the one everyone is talking about right now, Nigerians will now pay more electricity tariff as the country's Electricity Regulatory Commission has now approved an increase in electricity tariff to 225 naira per kilowatt from 68 naira for its Band A customers. We'll tell you what percentage that is. But the vice chairman of the commission, Musiliu Hussaini, who made this announcement in Abuja, says the increment will be for urban consumers who enjoy at least 20 hours of electricity every day.
The Commission has issued an order which is titled April 2024 Supplementary Order. That is supplementary to the order issued in December 2023, effective January 2024. So the April supplementary order takes effect from today, and in that order, the Commission has approved a rate review of 225 naira per kilowatt hour for just under 15% of the customer population in NESI. So that means that less than 15% of the customers will be affected. And you recall the number, I'm sure you are aware of the number of customers we have in NESI, and these are the customers that have been proven to be enjoying 20 hours average of supply.
Well, let's talk politics now. Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara says that those who consider his decision to implement the Presidential Peace Pact as a sign of weakness are in for a surprise. But the governor said he decided to keep silent over the controversy on the implementation of this peace agreement as a display of maturity and wisdom. Governor Fubara was speaking while addressing members of the National Union of Local Government Employees, NOLGE, who were on a solidarity visit at the Government House in Port Harcourt, Rivers State.
That resolution, I'm implementing it, is not a constitutional implementation. It's a political solution to a problem. And I'm doing it because of the respect I have for Mr. President. But let me say it here. If that action that I've accepted to follow will be taken for my weakness, I will surprise them.
Well, still on politics, a 7-man impeachment investigative panel against the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, over alleged misconduct at its inaugural sitting on Wednesday, rules that it will continue its investigation proceedings as there was no court order barring it from carrying out this assignment. The panel, headed by retired Justice S.A. Omonwa, made this ruling following the objection by Mr. Shaibu, the lead counsel, Oladoyin Awoyale, over the continuation of these proceedings on the basis of an order from a federal high court in Abuja. The deputy clerk of the House of Assembly, Joe Ohefia, also opposed this objection, ruled on Section 188(10) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, and argued that no court has the right to prevent the House of Assembly or the panel from performing its constitutional duties. And now it's heartwarming news for Nigerian students. President Bola Tinubu on Wednesday signed the National Students' Loan Amendment Bill into law, officially known as a Higher Education Bill. The legislation has repealed and reenacted by the National Assembly after extensive consultations. After signing the bill, President Tinubu thanked the National Assembly for signing it promptly, emphasizing that education is a tool needed to fight poverty effectively.
We have just signed a bill proclaiming the student loan effectively. First of all, I must thank the members of the National Assembly for their expeditious handling of this bill, considering the children of Nigeria, that education is the tool to fight against poverty effectively. We are determined to ensure education is given the proper attention necessary for the country, including skill development programs. This is to ensure that no one, no matter how poor their background is excluded from quality education and opportunity to build their future. We are here because we are all educated and we are helped. In the past, you've seen a lot of our children drop out of colleges and given up the opportunity. That is no more. The standard and the control is there for you to apply, no matter who you are, as long as you are a Nigerian citizen.
Let's move away from politics. Let's talk infrastructural development in Nigeria. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, is asking residents of the nation's capital to commend the efforts made by the present administration rather than condemn it. The minister was speaking after inspecting ongoing projects in the FCT.
Anybody who says that there's no improvement in terms of street light is a sadist. We are trying also to make some repairs of those that have been vandalized, which is not easy. Like when you had the Salini saying about here that they've tested it, but even though they've not owned it because they are waiting for commissioning. So maybe this is part of the area they think that is dark. People should be able to commend government when there are improvements. I didn't say here that we are going to concentrate only on the roads. We are saying we are going to dwell on the health sector and the education sector. And even agriculture, in terms of education, there are a few weeks we flagged up about the renovation of 19 schools. And I just said that we are going to take on 21 schools again under the 2024 budget. These people know. It's just that
some Nigerians find it difficult to accept the reality on ground that yes, things have changed. And when you do that, you see that those who are working will give in their best. But not when you do something for them to commend you on that, they are not happy. What they expected is not what they are seeing. They thought that we would have failed. But unfortunately, we are not failing. We are going on stronger and stronger every day.
The impact of currency weakness on the Nigerian private sector was evident again in the month of March this year. Purchase costs rose at the sharpest rate on record, meaning that companies increased their own selling prices at an unprecedented pace. While the rate of expansion in business activity ticked higher, but step price rises acted to limit demand and the pace of new order growth eased to a fourth-month low. Meanwhile, employment decreased for the second month running. The headline figure derived from the survey by Stanbic IBTC Bank Purchasing Managers Index indicated all these numbers. At least 9 people were killed and more than 1,000 injured on Wednesday by a powerful earthquake in Taiwan after damaging dozens of buildings, prompting tsunami warnings as far as Japan and the Philippines before being lifted. Well, dozens of people were believed safe but unreachable in areas cut off by massive landslide triggered by the quake, but many were in tunnels that cut off through the mountains that bisected the island from the north and the south of that country. But officials are saying that the quake was the strongest to shake the island in 25 years, while warning of more tremors in the days ahead. Let's talk sports now. Super Falcons head coach Randy Waldrum says that his team will defeat the Banyana of South Africa to win the 2024 Olympic Games ticket. The West Africans will confront Banyana of South Africa in the first of a two-legged contest at the Moshood Abiola Stadium in Abuja. That game will happen on Friday, while the reverse fixture will hold in Pretoria in South Africa next week, Tuesday. Speaking to NFF Media, Waldrum said that this team is a generational team. No disrespect to the other teams, but the talent and the depth that is coming into the team, which we saw in Australia at the FIFA Women's World Cup against some of the best teams around the world. All right, so that's a wrap on the top stories we have for you today. Let me bring in Kayode. Let's talk about the trending stories.
Quite a number of issues trending. Top stories you've read out there. But as usual, Nigerians have been talking.
Yes.
So let's get right into what you're talking about. And I think top on that list naturally will be the electricity situation.
Tariff.
So let's start with what you're saying. We begin on X with this user who's talking about the electricity tariff, as you'd expect. The handle is... I'll just say the name is Alien Exchange. It says most Nigerians wouldn't mind paying high for electricity if it's available 24/7.
Sure.
Is that true?
I think to an extent, maybe, because when you compare with the cost of buying fuel to power your generator, maybe I think
Nigerians wouldn't mind.
Yeah, they wouldn't mind if there's constant power.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But he ends by saying he thinks this is wickedness to increase tariff when people are still in darkness.
All right, the next one is from Respect Kaka. He says, our leaders sometimes can be funny. We have been in blackout since early March on my street, and now they still increase the tariff while we do not even enjoy the lights. The poor are not breathing again. They're already suffocating the poor.
Oh dear, and that's a reference to the president's line about let the poor breathe.
Yes.
Well, Awe Ayodele 03 is next with this particular post. Says, in reality, there are households that are enjoying an average of 20-hour electricity in the country. So if these set of people were asked to pay more, it may be justified. But don't ask or don't think the time should be now. Okay, it's a very interesting dynamic there.
And this is from Kamalti. He says, but a 300% increase is a lot considering the issues we are facing recently from grid shutdowns. Prices of stuff are going to go higher, definitely. When tariff increases like this, I mean, it's expected that goods will be affected also.
And I think that just ties into the next one from Meet Sunshine May, saying this will definitely affect businesses as they'll need to pay more to service electricity for their business. Don't forget, that's if they get 20 plus hours. At the end of the day, the consumers suffer for it. It's important to actually make this point because we're trying to trace the ripple effect. We've since reached out to the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria to find out if this has impacted them, what their thoughts are. We hope to get that in the mix. But these are some of the things you were saying about the electricity tariff hike. Let's turn our attention to another matter.
All right, so another matter is the official signing of the National Student Loan into law, which is already making some people excited. We'll know what that is about. And this is coming from Rita Sunshine. Okay, that's for electricity. Yeah. This is coming from Tessie. This is applaudable. Now that President Bola Tinubu has signed National Student Loan Amendment Bill into law, there should be massive job creation, both domestic, skilled, and professional jobs, so that even before and after students graduate, they can easily get jobs nationwide. How feasible do you think this is, Kayode?
That is the goal, really. Not just going to school, but also getting the jobs and making the most of your life. So, fantastic point you made there. So, another question is, when are we going to see the official flag off of sorts? Because remember, it was said that it was postponed and the rest. So, perhaps in a few days, we'll see that. But take a look at this next one. The concern of this next user is quite different. And this is from it's Lanre saying, yeah, great news. But it's Lanre is more concerned about repayment.
So is there a plan for repayment?
There is, naturally. But a lot of people will think of what played out or is playing out in the United States, where you have, millions of dollars in loans, student loans, that people are literally groaning under that. So
imagine you're studying and you don't have peace of mind. You're like, okay, I'm better still repay this.
You are better.
I
know. You better come up with something
make sure
good.
You're paid well. All right, so this is from Christian Not Safe in Nigeria. Okay, this is OK Kingsman. It says, that is if ASU strike does not last more than the duration of their loan period. That's another angle, So, I can't relate, shall we?
It is expected that with these student loans, there should be more funding for varsity education. So naturally, that should perhaps mean better welfare working conditions
to prevent
for the academic staff. But vital point, I must say. Olushore says, now, a Remain House students, and this is in Pidgin, so you understand how important this is to the user. A Remain House students will meet the criteria to collect the student's loan, essentially saying, now what is left is to see how students will meet the criteria to collect the student's loan. I expect that will be put out yet again, since there's been an amendment in the original law. So we'll wait to see what the new set of criteria are. And of course, we'll get that to you on the morning brief.
Definitely. Femoski says that interesting, but some people will actually spend their lifetime paying the loan after school due to unemployment and inflation, which ties back to what we just saw, the last tweet, right? On payment, repayment plan.
Yeah. I imagine Nigerians saying, I reject that. May I not be unemployed? I will get the job.
But the reality is what we should do.
So let's ensure that we tidy all of those loose ends. But again, keep those comments coming in. Hashtag CTV Morning Brief or on WhatsApp. We're here for you. But another matter that has been big on the news, particularly for social media users, is what the police spokesman said on one of our shows, our sister program, PoliticsToday, of late, saying that no law suggests that cross-dressing is a crime in Nigeria. That has naturally gotten a lot of people talking. So let's begin with D_Precious01. The comment from this user is, they should make it a crime. It is affecting the society negatively.
All right. News in Brief says that the Senate should pass the bill ASAP. Nigeria is not a gay country. Let this be known to our lawmakers. So we'll look at the laws again, right?
That's what the user is suggesting. D. Daffis says the government should ask themselves, in what way has cross-dressing helped or improved the society? And ask themselves also, in what way has cross-dressing affected the society negatively?
That's a very valid question. Debbie Dove says that the issue of cross-dresser must be examined logically. In most social gatherings, women are seen wearing agbada, danshiki, with gobi cap. What's gobi cap? Kayode, you'd explain that.
Gobi cap is gobi cap.
So you don't know like me? Detail with
it's actually gobi, I hear.
Gobi. Gobi cap. Okay, okay. Oh, okay.
Gobi cap.
Detail with suit and tie. How is the problem? How is this a problem when men wear iro and buba with gele? Enacts a law to make the act of cross-dressing an offense is complex.
It is. Just to give you a picture of what gobi cap looks like. You've gone to Yoruba parties, right? You know the people they call Yoruba demons?
Oh,
the cap they wear, and then they just tie it on the side. That is the Gobi cap. So
I know the other one that flaps the other way.
Yeah, I like that. Lovely. And this final one is from Amos Adediro AJ2 saying, but what about the influence of the young ones in our society? So let's just give you a peek of what was said regarding that on our sister program. And we'll be back.
To go. And it's about, this question is about some of your friends who are cross-dressers. And I say your friends because people, I see how people ask you questions about cross-dressing and these moral issues that are becoming a major problem in Nigeria. How is the police reacting to those kind of situations?
Well, there are some cases that are always very difficult to prove. Fine, I'm not ruling out the fact that we have many of them. But if you, for instance, you want to prove a case of rape, rape has points to prove. If any one of those points is missing, you may lose your case in court. Let us be reasonable. You can't arrest somebody you want to prosecute without having credible evidence against such a person.
Cross-dressing is not a crime yet in Nigeria.
I don't think so because I've not read anywhere it's an offense per se. But some of them that are into cross-dressing, the allegation is that they are into something else, unnatural offenses. That's where the problem lies. We need to actually have enough proof, credible evidence, to prove that they're actually into that. All those offenses are natural offenses in Nigeria, and they're punishable under our law.
So they must be careful how they
if you explore that it's not a crime in Nigeria, fine, you want to do that, you want to enjoy your liberty, but if you're into something else, that is criminal. Or natural offenses. Many people have been saying that, but let's have enough evidence to nail an individual is that dirty thing. The law will take its course.
All right, so those are the trending stories. These are the things you've been talking to us about. Thank you so much for sending them in. We'll take a moment now to bring you our discussions.
Absolutely. We're starting with the big one, so stay with us right here on the morning break, guys.
Let's start a conversation about electricity tariff, the hike. Almost 300% for band A users, now 225 kilowatts, and all of the details we're going to find out on the show today. What does this mean? There are about a few bands, A, B, C, D, and E. Some people are adding F, there's no band F. So that depends on the number of hours. But people are struggling to find out exactly what band they belong to, because some of them, they don't have enough power to even know exactly what band they belong to. All of that conversation is what we want to have right now on the program. We're being joined in the program by member Nigerian Society of Engineers, the MD and CEO of CCS Technology Limited, Engineer Ato Usiagu joins us via Zoom. Engineer Usiagu, thank you so much for coming on the program. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Can you hear me, sir?
Okay, I guess we'll try to resolve the connection with him, but it's important to have this conversation. Just to be sure, can you hear us, engineer?
Yes, I think I can hear you.
Great.
Right. Good morning. Welcome to the show. We have an engineer, Arthur Usiagu, who's a member of Nigerian Society of Engineers, and the CEO of CCS Technology Limited. I don't know if you were shocked about this. For some industry players, you had seen this coming. In fact, some had advocated for this, saying, let people who want more power pay more for this. But there's still that elephant in the room. One is just how much people are getting 20 plus hours of power supply. How consistent is it? Will they be downgraded if they don't get as much? For the other people who are not on any band whatsoever, because some people are saying they're not on any band, they're on band Z, what will be their fate? But let's get your immediate reactions to this recent tariff hike. They will walk through those questions.
Yeah, thank you very much. I am not surprised that we have an increment in what we are paying for electricity in the country today. We've been on this for quite a long time. If you look at the electricity subsector, you agree with me that it's been difficult to have a serious investment flow into that subsector. So it has always been government bringing in money, to kind of run the sector. And if for those who have been following my argument over the years, I am one of those who has been saying that doing business is not really government business. The government, the only thing they need to do is regulatory. Electricity subsector has suffered over so many years. And for us to, jumpstart the industry properly, we need serious funding. And you cannot fund the electricity subsector while you are also subsidizing, electricity. Currently, government is spending over $2.3 billion in terms of cap subsidy for electricity. With that, there is no way you can have a massive investment flow into that subsector. So I'm not surprised that this is coming at this time, but I have some reservation the way it's being deployed. If you look at this increment that is over 200%, and they are capping it on the band A, the band arrangement for this cost-reflective tariff is not homogeneous. What I mean is that you know how our country is. You cannot actually say that a particular section is only on that band A. We have some other communities aligned with those people who the discos are considered as band A, and all of them are not equally endowed. So what you find is not all the affluent society you have in Ajah, for example. There are still some communities that are also within that catchment that are attached to that feeder, that are not really people you can say they have the capacity to pay that kind of 240% increment in terms of rate. So it's not homogeneous. The poor who are attached to that band will also have a way to suffer from these increments. So that is the dislocation in the arrangement for now.
I know there are explainers, so some of the things that you said, and the NEC has also mentioned some of the things you listed. But the concern that people are having is the timing. There's two things: the timing Second, the rates of increment. I want you to speak to that.
Yes, the timing, I will agree with you that the timing is not correct, because if you look at what is happening in the country currently, the majority of the citizens are going through very, very harsh economic realities occasioned by massive increase in the cost of petrol, diesel, and so many other basic food items. So one would have expected that the government will look at this properly and look for the best time frame to make this increment. But also, the level of increment is quite astronomical, from 60 to 68 naira per kilowatt hour, taking it up to about 240 naira per kilowatt hour, which is 235 per kilowatt hour, which is almost 240% increment. That a little bit is sensitive at this time. So I agree with you completely.
We've talked about the sensitivity. I mean, Jeffrey just asked that question, but you'd also want to ask, were people consulted? Is this how things, just decisions are just taken? I mean, I thought stakeholders are to be consulted. People who are directly affected should be asked questions. Increasing from 68 naira to 225 naira, how do you want people to cope with that amount?
Well, we have these normal saying that the customer is king. But the way it is now, you agree with me that what has happened now, the customer is actually not the king in this instance. But I have always advocated that the government shouldn't be getting involved in this. Government shouldn't get involved with this. If we need to fly, if we need to move to where we should be, I have said it several, that government should answer completely. Allow industry players to get involved wholly in the area of electricity. Because there are still lots of dislocations in this approach. And at the end of the day, even the 20 hours we are talking about, how is it possible? How is it possible for us to have 20 hours supply when the grid is still comatose? You can agree with me that recently, in this year alone, we had close to 3 system collapse, in this country. So the grid is weak. So how are you still going to wield power to ensure that both the industrial sector and those who need electricity for homes, they are able to enjoy 20 hours of electricity uninterrupted? It's still a very tall order, because the electricity infrastructure is still a problem as we speak today. So it's like running around the same circle. We've tried so many ways, and yet we are still in the same quagmire. So it's still a big problem. So I don't see how, with government involvement, even if we take tariff to 250% increment, it's not going to solve the problem, because government still has a hand in this whole electricity subsector, which is not going to help us as a country. It's so huge that government has no capacity to fund, and government has no the wherewithal to run this subsector. That is just the situation right.
So I want us to begin to project now into the future, which is now actually. I recall when subsidy was removed, petrol subsidy that is, there was first gladness, then groaning. And that groaning still lasting up until today, perhaps tomorrow, except some major turnarounds are done. A lot of people said that was the way forward, but they said government didn't quite plan for the eventualities that came with subsidy removal, and we know what that has done to a lot of things. So for this subsidy removal for electricity for Band A, let's sort of project the effect it will have on the economy. For those who are manufacturing, some of them may just be on Band A. If we're seeing 300% increase in their electricity cost, what will that do to the price of goods in the market? And I'm talking FMCGs, even farmers, for example, too, in terms of storage and the rest. So can you give us an insight into what this may do to the economy so we're better prepared?
Yeah, it's true. It's true that this increment, we allow industry players to invest more in the electricity subsector, because when at the former rate, when it was heavily subsidized by government, it became so difficult for industry players to finance this sector. So what will happen with this increment is going to attract massive inflow, of serious financing into that sector. That's one. Because if you look at, if you have to generate electricity on your own, a liter of diesel, for example, will give you between 3 to 4 kilowatt hour of electricity, which means per kilowatt hour of electricity, if you are doing self-generation, you'll be spending close to 400 to 500 naira per kilowatt hour. So this increment actually will allow massive inflow of those who really want to, invest in the electricity subsector. But it is going to really dig a lot of holes in the pockets of subscribers, because they were not carried along, fully. And this time around, in my own opinion, shouldn't be the actual timing this should take effect. Government should have at least sat back a little bit and look at the appropriate time when the economy has fully jump-started, in view of where we are coming from, before we look at this massive idea of over 240% increment in terms of the tariff.
Doesn't this sound like customers paying for some form of systemic failure? That's what it sounds like. Maybe you correct me if I'm wrong. That's on one hand. On the other hand, we're talking about investors coming in. Are there sufficient infrastructure in the first place to even support this investment coming in, to be able to revamp the sector and get us as much power as we want?
Well, it's true that over the years, government has spent more than $20 billion in the electricity subsector. But of course, massive leakages when it comes to government involvement in businesses, and massive time lag and poor decision making, So that is why we have been advocating that it's right time government hands off completely. Because if you allow the private sector to drive this initiative, you will agree with me that the value chain, what we are having now in the last 20 years, would have been far, far more than what we are experiencing now. The electricity supply in Nigeria is still a problem because of lots of challenges with developing that subsector. It's not far-fetched for one to take that. It is the involvement of government. Government is not capable to drive this subsector in terms of massive capital outlay involved. So that is why we have been saying they need to get off the space, sell the remaining equity they are holding in DISCO, which is about 40%, and completely privatize the transmission company of Nigeria, which today still remains the weakest link. So no matter what we do with electricity in terms of government involvement, it's not going to be an Eldorado for us. The third thing is for government to fully decentralize the grid system. I've said this so many times. The 17% or 15% of the A band they are talking about, takes about 50% of the total electricity quantum that this country is using. So decentralize the grid system, plan a new grid system for the band one team, so that 60% of the quantum of electricity that is needed in Nigeria will be sorted. Then the remaining can still be kept in the grid. So the government does not have the funding to do all this. If this is not done, we will still be running around the same side.
Mr. Siago, you've said 50% of the electricity grid in the country belongs to the Band A, which means the Band A, they're enjoying this light for how many hours? They said 20 hours. That is if they give up to 20 hours. Are there plans for those in from Band B down to Band Z, what do you think will be the solution to the problem for people who do not even see this power in their areas?
That is why I am faulting this initiative for now, because electricity supply in Nigeria is not totally homogeneous. You know that our communities are not planned. You cannot say this is the exclusive area for the rich or industry. We don't have complete catchment arrangement for electricity supply. So you have a rich area, but you still have some poor enclaves, you know, attached to that feeder. So it is difficult for you to totally do a discrimination to say this feeder only serves the industrial area, or there are still homes within the industrial area. I'll give you a few examples. If you look at the urban industrial area, the feeder feeding that catchment also has a way of feeding some sections of Agege. So if the urban industrial catchment is put along the Band A, so a section of it is still feeding Agege. So the poor people in Agege will also be paid to pay, you know, these high rates in terms of what you have now. So it's not homogeneous. It's going to create a problem. So that's why I'm advocating that the best way is to allow private initiative to handle the electricity problems in Nigeria. And in the next 2-3 years, you'll see a massive capitalization in this sector, and the problem of electricity will be resolved. But if government keeps playing a major role in the planning, in generation, in distribution, and in transmission, it is going to still be a ding-dong affair, that we've been in the last 30-40 years. So there won't be good inroads. So government must bite the, you know, the cake properly and get off these subsector and allow private sector to drive the entire industry.
Right.
You can see what happened recently in Aba. So that is the way to go.
While these sectors are quite peculiar, what is how the banking sector operates is different from the power sector. You know, the power sector is big on infrastructure, physical infrastructure. You know what vandalism has done, people trying to bypass meters, and of course the power company is not delivering as they ought to. But there's this question that is sticking out really. So Band A customers are said to be, what, 17% of the total customers, at least that's what NERC said. They're meant to get 20 plus power supply. And that is meant to be an agreement between them and the distribution company. So distribution companies can get more remit to the GenCos, and then we should have more power. But what happens on days that you don't get up to 20-hour supply? What do you think should happen? Because it's an agreement. So if the distribution companies or the whole power supply chain, if they renege on their own part of the deal, would it still be fair for the consumer to pay that 220-something naira tariff for that day they don't get up to 20 hours of power?
Yeah, you are right. The only workable way is that all those who are going to be on this band must be metered properly, because you can only pay what you utilize. If you are not metered and you are on band A, it's going to be a catastrophe. But if you are metered and you are on band A, yes, you can only pay based on the power you receive. But if you look at the entire supply chain architecture of electricity, it's a bit funny. Now, you are aware that NERC regulates, but you have another in between government establishment, which is the MBET, that buys this power from the GenCos and sell to the DISCOs. You and I have been witnesses to what has happened in the last 3 years, where there will be power availability, but the DISCOs will refuse to buy. They will refuse to buy because they don't want to take the quantum of electricity that is available. They only want to take the one they know they can sell to those who are willing to buy and are willing to pay. So these are These are dislocations along the downstream electricity subsector, which I have said it's not right. And that is the reason why I've been advocating that government must answer completely, because I don't see why the embed is playing a middleman role in this arrangement. Allow those who generate electricity, allow them to transmit the power, allow them to sell the power. So they have a holistic, a total package arrangement that will give us power. You know, you cannot also be keeping 40% equity in the discos, and every day you give them subtle threats. Oh, we are going to revoke your license. The next day, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. When this kind of ideas come from government, it makes it so difficult for the discos to go full plug, look for money, recapitalize, and run the entity the way they want to run. Look at all the discos along in the downstream electrical subsector. You discover that there has not been any massive improvement in the infrastructure, because they just run it like a daily business. They are not really interested in making massive investment to improve the infrastructure. So there are lots of losses along the line. They don't really care. Massive electricity theft. So they need to apply technology in the best way available to monitor electricity along the subsector. But these things are not happening because the discourse are very, very skeptical about the next move of government. They don't know. So this government involvement in electricity is really drawing us back as a nation, and it's not going to allow us to see the light at the end of the tunnel if we continue with this trajectory.
You know, energy is one of the key factors when it comes to inflation. When you talk about transportation and energy, it's quite critical. So because when you look at the government in power, I think it's supposed to be a centrist rights government, left government rather, so populist, socialist, but we're seeing a lot of capitalism in the system, which is what you're also advocating for at the end of the day, for private sector people to come in and be players. So if we're looking at the future of private sector taking over entirely, help us understand how they will do things differently in terms of population distribution. You have talked about feeders feeding the well-off as well as the not too well-off. There are situations where the well-off is living among the not too well-off. So it's a mixed bag of population distribution. What would they do differently, since they are profit-driven, to help everybody kind of afford these things at the end of the day?
Yes, that is the electricity is electricity everywhere. It costs about $1 million US for you to generate about 1 megawatts of electricity. It's quite a lot. So anybody who wants electricity will definitely, one way or another, pay for it. The well-off and the not so well-off are still in this country today. All of us are already generating electricity ourselves. We are using generators. Those who cannot afford diesel, they are using petrol to run their small generators. And if you do a little calculation, you discover that everybody in this country, whether well-off or no well-off consumer, we are spending close to 300 to 450 naira generating per kilowatt hour of electricity. So my view is that this discrimination should not be there. I'm telling you that Nigeria is a very good country. We are ready and we are willing to pay for electricity if we have it. So let electricity be enough. People, even if they are going to pay more for electricity, with the preponderance of electricity all within the nooks and crannies of Nigeria, there will be massive wealth generation, because without electricity, there is no economy. So that is what I believe this government should do. They should take the bull by the horn, get off the space and get in massive finance into this subsector. Sell the remaining equity they have with the discos completely, 100%, not giving 40%. Privatize completely the transmission company of Nigeria, which as of today still remain the weakest link and cannot wheel, as we speak, more than 3,000 megawatts of electricity. So how are we going to develop? How are we going to ensure that we provide electricity for the teeming citizens of Nigeria? If we don't do that, and we keep subsidizing electricity, and the way we are subsidizing, we are losing money, $2.3 billion on subsidies. No country is going to survive with that. Nigerians are already suffering. They're already generating electricity on their own. They're already spending over 400 naira per kilowatt hour of electricity via generators.
Yeah.
And this is already hemorrhaging even the industrial sector. Go to all companies now, they run on diesel. And you know how expensive diesel is now. So the issue is that government cannot solve this problem. They just have to back out, just like what happened in the telecommunications subsector. I said, we'll keep on running around this circle if we allow government to keep meddling in this electricity subsector. They need to take a bow and allow this system to work with private companies coming in to run this electricity subsector. That is the only. It may be expensive at the beginning, but at the long run, we'll have 2 or 3 players coming into the system.
Right.
You will see, based on competition, the actual quantum of what we pay in terms of electricity within the next 1 year or 2 will go down. It will definitely go down. But government will have to take the bull by the horn. And the time to do it is now.
Because it will be a travesty, really, a travesty of justice, if for the Band A people that are now paying over 200, they paid, and they still don't get that amount of power daily. By the way, can they sue? Should they sue just in case that happens? Because, I mean, it's a deal. Everybody signed that contract of sorts. You said that they are paying 400 naira per kilowatt hour to generate power using, generating sets and the rest. So I imagine if companies adjust to this, they start paying the plus 200. But if they're not getting up to 20 hours, they're still spending 400 naira per kilowatt hour to service their generator. So at the end of the day, they end up paying more than they used to pay when they didn't have good supply and the tariff was less than what they're paying. They end up paying more now than what they used to pay then. It's a very tricky one, but I imagine you understand what I'm trying to say. So is this also an opening for people to begin to challenge the distribution companies, the whole power supply generation and all of that value chain, to challenge them in court? They used to do that before, but is this now an opening to say, well, if you renege on that contract, I can go to court?
No, it's not. There's no way you can go to court with governments involvement.
But it's a
like
contract. I'm saying now, it's a contract.
There are laws of contracts that you sign with government. I'm talking about within Nigeria. And most times you discover that they don't keep the other end of their bargain. The truth is that private sector can give you 98% power availability. And if there's going to be a hitch in terms of supply, they notify you. We had this long time ago in this country when we were much younger. It's still possible. But if it is government, it's difficult. I can assure you they won't keep to that end of the contract. Because the discourse, as it is today, cannot guarantee you 20 hours of electricity because it's not totally in their hands. Generation is not in their hands. Transmission is not in the hands of the discos, because the transmission is in the hands of the transmission company of Nigeria, which is wholly owned by government, 100%. So if there is a transmission failure or a grid collapse, that is not caused by the discos. So how are you as a customer of the discos? What are you going to do? So these are lots of dislocations in the downstream electricity subsector that I'm talking about. So it's not totally in the hands of the discos. So if you allow a unitary system, a company that is generating its own electricity, is transmitting it, and is also distributing it. Then you can hold them accountable if there's any supply failure. But on one hand, you have an entity that is supposedly a private entity that is supplying you power. You had an agreement with them. On the other hand, that same entity that is supplying you power, the grid that is providing the supply to that entity, they don't have control over it. It's owned by government, with all the inefficiencies in government. And, so it's going to be difficult, no matter the agreement they sign. I can assure you, there's no way they can control. If they tell you 20 hours, if you have the 20 hours, oh, you are lucky. But there are lots of issues that are not within the control of the district that have been issued, signing the contract to. So it's not going to work until there is a complete removal, from the angle of government in these electricity supply chain.
What you said may be true, but excuse me, it's almost very sad to listen to this part of that conversation, given the fact that when the government wants to tax us, they go as far as they can get to get money out of our pocket, because it's our civic responsibility to pay taxes. And now when we want them to take responsibility for failure, from what you're saying, it appears that it's a tall order. It's quite unfortunate. But at the end of the day, Nigerians want better service, efficient service. So whether it's the government involved or the private sector, all Nigerians want is service. I don't think the average Nigerian and discerning Nigerian has a problem with paying bills. We must thank you, Engineer Arthur Osuago, for coming on the program, member, Nigerian Society of Engineers, and MDC of CCS Technology Limited. Thank you for coming on the program, sir.
Thank you for having me. It's been nice being with you.
And we'll take a quick break now. When we come back, we'll switch gears to that lady who is breaking barriers as a marina. What that conversation is all about is what we'll bring to you after this break. Join us again.
Welcome back. Well, we're still here, and our next guest is she's been described as Nigeria's first female master mariner. She's Captain Rosalind Toto Kete. She has had over 30 years experience on sea. We talked about being on water. Some stay years, months. I don't know how they do it, but we'll find out from the captain this morning on the show. Hello and welcome to the morning brief.
Good morning, thank you, ma. My name is Captain Rosalind Kete, as you said, a native of Sangana in Akasa Kingdom, Brass Local Government, Bayelsa State.
All right, so my first question to you will be, how did this all begin? How did it even all start? Were you ever a water person? Let me ask that. Did you ever like the sea? How did it all start?
Okay, actually, while growing up, we are all from the coastal area, and my dad has this native cargo vessel, and he used to take us to Port Harcourt during the holidays. And one of the holidays, I saw a vessel that is a yacht with a lot of kids, and I asked my father, I said, Dad, can I join those people? Because, something to do with water, and I saw little children. It means I'll be able to do it well too, So he told me, the place is at Borigri, So I said, okay, if that be the case, I have to go and look for this place. So I got there, and then I met the captain of the vessel. And at that time, I was very lucky. They asked me to join. So that is how I joined in 1986. Then I continue on with, the show. Every Sunday I go with them. And then to a point, 1989, I went to Sea School Isaka when they inaugurated it to Sports Institute. So I saw this same wheel again during when they were crossing us with the vessel, and I asked the captain that I would like to join him to steer the wheel. So he said, okay, if I'm interested. So that is where actually I got motivated, and I started with the job. So it's like a sport, it's like a fun, I never knew this is actually going to be a big deal. But today, I have carried on, I chased this career until date, and I'm now a master mariner and the first in the country at large. I'm very grateful.
So let's talk about the challenges of being a woman in that space, which is why a lot of people celebrate and are excited to hear from you. We understand, put the record straight for us. We understand that when people go at sea, sometimes they could be away for, is it 3 months or 6 months? So you help us with the facts. Is it 3 or 6 months? Is it a year? And as a woman, how do you cope with all of that, being absent from home?
Okay, as a woman, it's actually challenging. During the period I started, I never see any woman at sea, actually. And when I joined as a cadet, I went for about 2 years before I could come down to see my parents. So it's very challenging, but then it is easy when you are, you know what you are doing. So I think it's a very good job.
So from what you're saying, does it mean that you didn't give me the facts? You said for you it's 2 years before you came back from your first voyage, I guess. But usually, how does it work within that space? Do you stay for 6 months or 3 months, 1 year? Just a bit of facts.
18 months, sir.
Each time you go at sea as a captain, you have to stay away for 18 months.
Okay, during the cadetship, yes, 18 months. But during our routine job period is 60 days, sometimes 90 days.
Okay, 60 to 90 days. So when you come back, you stay for how long away from sea?
When I come back, I stay the same 60 days or sometimes 90 days or less,
Okay.
Wow. I've always respected people that go on the sea. If you've ever been on a boat, you know what, let me downgrade it. If you've ever been in a swimming pool, let me downgrade it further. If you've ever been in a bathtub, you know how tricky the water can be. But you're not in a bathtub, you're not in a swimming pool, you're not even in a river, you're on the sea. I mean, I don't think it gets as even more intense than that. So I don't have a heart, but I doff my heart for you. And the essence of this conversation also is to, bring to light some of those occupations that are vital to our existence, but people don't really recognize it, because as a master mariner, you captain a merchant ship or passenger ship. It's different from those who maybe captain a luxury or pleasure ship or a naval ship. So you bring in goods, bring in people, as the case may be. You can speak to us about that experience. But one thing that is just right there on top of my mind is the fact that, is it because we don't have a lot of women as master mariners that we sometimes have issues of smuggling, crude oil theft, and the rest? Maybe if we had more women captains, there will be less of crude oil theft, because women are usually no-nonsense people. Men are too, but women, they don't take a lot of nonsense.
No, it's not going to be on my watch. Fine, women are very brave people, and when it comes to leadership, we are very, very, participative and autocratic sometimes, But to my vessel, I think I cannot take any, anything that is, I would say that I will keep my watch very well, and I take command very well, and be good with the guys there. No one can bring in any smuggling of anything, because we follow by the rules and follow by the policies of the SMS.
I mean, you talked, I like the part you said on my vessel, which means you have some form of control. You're totally in control. So when you face challenges, how do you even calm nerves? I've been on sea and I understand how scary it could be. So when you face challenges on sea, maybe weather, some other stuff, form of challenge, how do you even calm people? How do you take control? How do you take charge?
Yes. When you encounter weather situations at sea, you summon the guys and then you bring them and then talk to them, at least to calm them down and give them a hope of getting to their destination without getting to a founder. And I think with the crew I have worked with, I think they believe I can take them through even storm or good weather, and they take to that. I think I haven't had any issues, you know.
So let's talk about family. Apologies, you're married, madam?
Yeah.
Okay, because I wanted to find out exactly how you cope with the home front as against this being absent as long as you talked about. But if you add that to the next question I want to find out from you, which is the size of your ship, because you say you're in control of your ship. If you could also paint us a scenario where you had to brave up to take leadership, because the whole idea sometimes for this conversation is to make people learn, especially women. If they are master mariners, as you said, when you went in, there were no women, and now you're here because you want to tell women you can do this. So they need to see as much of the picture as possible, which is why I'm asking you that question about how you manage the home front and being away. That's on one hand. On the other hand is scenario where you had to take charge in the middle of men and asserted your authority, and it worked out well.
Well, taking charge is one thing. And I believe there are two kind of rules in the war. The captain is always right. And if the captain is not right in rule number 1, refer to rule number 2, is always right. And according to ISM, section 5, overriding authority. So if this overriding authority is given to the captain, and the captain work according to ISM, I think the command is always, according to ISM. So you must obey. And if you don't obey, it means you take your bag and leave the vessel for the people that wants to work on board. And in the area of marriage issue, I'm okay with my husband, and I'm very comfortable with it because he's a very patient person and the family is happy. Thank you.
Well, that's beautiful to hear.
Besides of my vessel, I've been always working as on PSV, oil field equipment, and I have also worked on, multiple PSV. So I think with oil field equipment, I'm very, very, conversant with it.
So, with your decades of experience, naturally, you'll have some insights or some policy advice for those who are managing, is it the blue economy, the marine sector, even you've talked about the crude oil, vessels for crude oil and the rest. So naturally, you'll have some policy ideas, having worked right in the thick of things. It's one thing to be in the office. It's another thing to be on the field. We need to marry that together so we can come up with the best policies. This government appears to be quite big on the blue economy and the rest. There's a new ministry sort of carved out for it. If there's one thing you want to point the attention of the minister and the ministry, and by extension of the government, one thing you want to point their attention at to at least ensure that we get the very best from the blue economy, what will that one thing be, madam?
Okay, on the other hand, I think, yes, I agree we need to encourage our young ones coming up to join this, career. Because if myself as being a woman can come up to this extent, I think we need to encourage the young ones coming. And with the blue economy program, I think we'll go a long way with the youth.
Okay, let me piggyback on that and talk about something I had raised earlier, and of course, you touched on, and that's your experience when it comes to the crude oil sector. Is there something else that we may be missing in that sector, such that we ensure that what is Nigeria's wealth stays as Nigeria's wealth, and we're able to exchange that for value to improve our economy, rather than the case where we have people pilfering Nigeria's wealth, and they do that in such brazen manner on the sea? I mean, vessels are not tiny, they're huge, they're really huge, and these people find ways to get them from the oil wells, the creeks, transport them to the vessels, and then get them to the buyers. So is there anything we're still missing that you'd like us to maybe fix in the area of crude oil theft and the transportation of it?
Anyway, on that aspect, I think I condemn the act, and it's also polluting our environment, degrading our economy, and even the ozone layers, is being destroyed because of that. And I believe the government has the right people in place to, calm situation down. So I think the government will handle situations like that because they have the right people in place.
You have talked about crude oil theft. Let's also talk about security on our waterways. With your experience, 30 years is not a small feat. You have been on sea for 30 whole years. So you'd imagine what security would look like and how best to use our waterways to tackle insecurity in the country. So what would be your advice to the government or security agencies associated with marine in tackling insecurity in the country?
Okay, as we're talking of security, and I think security is a thing that has to put in place, especially in our coast here. And for the period I have worked, especially from 2007, when things were very tense with security, we have, gunboats escorting us, and they've been, strict in taking surveillance around the area, and even our vessel with CCTV and all of that. So if the government can improve in those areas to keep the seafarers safe by, getting security agencies to see through the vessels while they are going on their way, I think that will be fine. And I believe they will work towards it and do it better.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. As we begin to wind down, I wanted to find out from you, in terms of pay, would you say that people in that space are well paid?
Normally, yes, they're supposed to be well paid, because as this, our work is something that we have to earn better. But as it is now, anyway, I believe Nigerian companies should try and see that they pay their crew very well, because it's like more or less a prison. If you're going into the prison for maybe 3, 4, 5 months before you come to the sea, no social life and all of that, I think we need to be well paid.
Right. Finally, Captain Roselyn Totoketa, please, to that little girl watching you right now, listening to you, who wants to be a mariner, who wants to do something different in a male-dominated field, just in 30 seconds, give a last line to her listening right now to you.
Okay, I am actually encouraging the females in Nigeria, those young ones coming up, to emulate me. I have been in this field for a long time. Right from the 80s up till now, it's not easy. And I think I encourage them to come and join the sea work. The sea going work, because with that, our young girls can have something doing, can be industrious and can be helpful to their family, like unto me, from the place I'm coming from, I never thought I'm going to even get a pair of shoes. But today, I think I can be able to be proud of the work I'm doing. So I encourage girls to come on board.
All right, thank you. That's a good place to end this conversation. Thank you very much, Captain Rosalind Toto Kete, described as Nigeria's first female master mariner, and well done for all you do. Thanks a lot for your time on the show.
Thank you.
All right, we're not done yet. We have Kocee still coming on our entertainment segment. We want to know the difference between Nigeria jollof and Cameroonian jollof, but we have a lot for you. So Kocee will join us in just a moment. Stay with us.
As Kocee, but real name is Jang Mengu Collins. Credit Alert is like the tune now. You know, it resonates with us on different levels, and you just got a snippet of that. Kocee featuring Patty Rankin. Guess what, guys? Kocee joins us live on the morning brief this morning. Kocee, how you doing?
I'm great. And you?
I'm fantastic. How much of Credit Alert have you gotten since that song came out?
Since that song came out, I've been getting more of debit than credit too. I've been getting more of debit because, you know, we need to keep things going, you know, with the whole promotion, marketing and all that. So actually, you know, it's Nigeria now. Some funds need to go out, you know.
Absolutely. So the debit usually comes before the plenty credit.
Before the credit.
So it's like you sow a seed, and then you reap the harvest.
Pastor King.
Preach it, brother. Kocee, you're in Nigeria.
Yep.
You're Cameroonian.
Yeah.
But for some reason, you have a Nigerian vibe to you. I told you earlier, you used to have a Nigerian vibe. So tell us about this relationship with Nigeria, Nigerian industry, Nigerian music. We'll get to jollof and football. But talk to us about your Nigerianness, if I could say that.
Actually, I hear that a lot. First of all, I hear that a lot from the airport to wherever my apartment or the people that I work with. Most of them, they don't even accept, they don't even believe that, okay, I'm Cameroonian. I don't know, but maybe that's because I'm from the English part of Cameroon that is having maybe some similar cultures with, you know, Nigeria. So I always come here too all the time. Since from the beginning of my career, I always make sure I come here like 2 times a year. You know, I always make sure I come here like 2 times a year because I always want to come learn new things, you know, the music business and all that, work with other people and stuff. So sometimes, you know, I'll blend with them, you know, sometimes even the pidgin and all that, the food. Of course, I love the food, spicy and all that. And they even give me a name, like I told you, your name, Kayode.
They gave you Kayode. Hey, that's my namesake, guys.
Yeah, so, I mean, Nigeria is a nice place, very welcoming people, polite, and I believe that all the times that I've been here back and forth, it just brings in that, you know, merge. And so some of them, they don't really believe I'm Cameroonian like that, you know.
Kayode.
Kayode. So let me call you Kayode now. Kayode. Nigeria Super Eagles, I recall, adopted your Credit Alert's anthem as their own anthem for when they defeated Ghana in March 2024. I mean, this year when they defeated Ghana.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
I was shocked, first of all, because I think that was the same day that the song dropped.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it happened the same day. It dropped around 12 p.m. and then they used it in the evening. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? How come, you know? So, I mean, it was a thing to me because my own Cameroonian team has never used my song.
you see, we Nigerians are
you know, yeah, I know, actually, no, it's not I want to bash my people and stuff like that. It's just me being shocked, you know, because they used it that same day. So I called my manager. I'm like, what did you guys do? Did you do something or stuff? They say no, they didn't do anything, or they just loved the song genuinely and they used it. So I was happy. I think we did a repost on it.
And that got you a lot of Credit Alerts. So drop your tights here before you leave. Because I'm giving it to the Super Eagles for using your song. And it brought lots of fame to that song. A lot of people started knowing Credit Alerts.
Thank you.
So since you say that a lot of people say you look like Nigeria, maybe you remove your shades. Let's see how Nigerian you look. Can you do that?
Oh, I never sleep since. So those
So you go on your eyes.
No, his eyes.
So you go on your eyes. Okay, but let's walk through it. I know that for you, this is business.
Yep.
Why are you targeting the Nigerian market?
Okay. Being the number one for my country, I felt like there was a limit. I felt like I needed my music to touch all the people, and I didn't bother coming to start afresh, getting into a new audience. And I believe that we are in a very big space called Africa, where we can explore as much as we can. We can't just limit ourselves based on what our colonial masters have made us understand that, okay, we need to, and then they need to, So if we could have that space where we could all be united as one Africa, obviously we won't be bothering to say, okay, why are you singing from Cameroon? Maybe mine would have been a city or something, and Nigeria would have been another city or another state or stuff like that. So I just feel like Africa is so large and has so many cultures that we can actually benefit as much as we can. You're seeing now the likes of a lot of, American celebrities and artists. They are now getting into the African culture. Some of them are using amapiano now. The Nigerians can use amapiano, and some will even get nominated at the Grammys with amapiano and stuff. So I just feel like with the diversity of culture, I cannot stick on just being a French artist, because obviously in Cameroon the French community is larger than the English one. So most of the times, if you want to make it back home, you will need to sing in French. If you don't sing in French, they won't really, get your music like that, because the English is just 20% and the French is 80%. So sometimes I have to write my lyrics, then I translate them to French. So, and God be so kind, me not even being French, I got the bigger songs back home and stuff like that. So every time they listen to me, they will see me like a French artist and French. I sometimes like, don't put me in the box. I don't want to be in the box. I want to be an African artist.
So as a Cameroonian, you didn't feel any way when Cameroon lost on many fronts in Nigeria? The lost at the AFCON. Well, according to somebody said they use Bahoshe to hit out Ngannou, talking about what's his name?
Joshua.
Anthony Joshua. Do you feel any way when you see that happen?
It's all a game.
It's all a game. That spirit.
So I believe that we are all black people, and we are one. If we put that in our heads that we are one, there are so many things that we're going to overcome.
So, you're also a rapper. So how do you even infuse your genre of music? Should be Afropop, or what would you call? Should I give you a name, or you have a name for it?
Trust me, I don't like
boxing yourself.
You don't like boxing yourself. That's why you also rap. So before the end of the show, you definitely rap. But how do you infuse? You're singing and then rapping, because I know there are two different things.
Well, I started off as a rapper. First, I got inspired by the Ghanaian rapper Sarkodie, because I never had any plans of doing music and stuff like that. Only when I heard him, then I decided to. So I started off as a rapper, doing all the freestyles, doing covers and posting on Facebook and stuff like that. And then I realized that, okay, the audience for rap is kind of small. And I really want my music to touch a lot of people. That's why you see me in Nigeria here too now, because I want my music to impact also Nigerians, to also know that, okay, who Kocee is and stuff like that. If it can touch you, motivate you, encourage you in one way or the other and stuff. So I had to switch and started learning how to sing. Now I started listening to a lot of Afrobeat artists. I started listening to Kiss Daniel, Davido, the likes of Whiskey. So I was listening to them a lot just to get that mastery of how to do make a gyration song and a danceable song.
Fantastic. So you're a lot of things: rapper, singer, dancer. Actually, I've seen your videos where you dance so well. Wow, it's like a quadruple threat. Also an influencer, fashionista, all-round creative artist. And I think we need to commend your craft.
Thank you.
And then you're a good businessman too. You've thought about how to break into bigger markets. And I see what you're doing. I saw your image with Burna Boy. You described yourself as a Dogo of Cameroon. But I need to touch on something. Credit alert. You sort of used a beat that is known with the Igbo tribe. I mean, in DK, for example, the remix, that's the same flow.
Yeah.
And I saw the video you did. You were dressed in the Igbo attire, and it really sold. I've seen you with some major people from the Southeast tribe, and you're cutting across. So speak to us about how you struck gold. Literally, how you struck that gold. Mastercraft produced a song, featured Pato Ranking on it. So how did you do that link up? You need to give us an insight.
Shot by TJ Omori.
Exactly, shot by TJ Omori, exactly.
So actually, I had to find someone that I'm going to partner with, and I found Bridge Afrique, run by Victoria. We've been talking since I released my first album. So I came here when I released the album, we promoted the album and stuff, and they'd be like, hey, I feel like we can, partner and stuff like that. You know this terrain very well. You know a lot of people here are inside the entertainment sector. So I feel like we can partner in such a way that I come in with the music and stuff, and then you make sure you give the right contacts, marketing and all that. And she was down with it. I think we started off this year. We just started off Kickstart this year, 2024. Yeah. So she's been making those connections easier for me, to get to some people that maybe if I have to start reaching out to them on Instagram, maybe they might not reply you and stuff like that. So yeah, I tried reaching out to some, but for Pato, I met Pato in Cameroon. We had a concert together in Cameroon. So after he left, I told him, Baba, we'll guys do something, just don't forget me and stuff. So he said, okay, when the right time comes. And when I came, I had to make sure that I work with those who are up there. Mastercraft has been one of the, until date, he's still proving that, okay, he's the master of his own craft when it comes to music production and all that. So when I made him listen to the song, I made him listen to the a cappella first, and they all like, hey, same question you asked him, where are you from? And stuff
You're not Nigerian.
Let's just produce this song, forget about where I'm from right now, And we did that song in a space of 45 minutes. He did the beat, a record and stuff. We sent to Pato. Pato was like, oh, okay, I love this, So he told me I'm going to get it in 2 weeks. And exactly 2 weeks, I got it. He sent it to me, and he's been so supportive, so engaged, making sure he's going to call, how are things going for the flyer, the video, have you contacted this DJ, It's hard to see some artists, bigger artists that will collaborate with you, and then they invest themselves. Like so far, he's been doing so much. He brought me on stage at AY Live.
Yeah, saw that. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
And you saw the reaction.
Yeah. I was like, hey, okay. And someone told me that there are a lot of people who are struggling to climb on that stage and stuff. And so I just thank God that, he's putting in the right energy, and we have the likes too of other celebrities who have really been helping me, like Chris Clown, like White Money of Big Brother, and we were with Obi Kubana too.
Exactly.
He actually really
you're literally everywhere. I wanted to find out from you how difficult or how challenging it's been to break into the space, because we have loads of A-list artists who are. In fact, at the Grammys, as you know, out of the 5 or 6 people that were nominated, the rest were Nigerians, apart from Tyler, of course. So you have Burna, you have Wizkid, you have Davido, you have a plethora of people. So how challenging has it been coming from Cameroon, neighboring Cameroon, to break into this market?
To me, Nigeria being the most populated country in Africa, there is a lot of challenges, and you guys are menu. Normally if you get in somewhere, they say if you don't see a Nigerian, go back. If you go into any country, make sure that there are Nigerians there. If they are not there, it means something is wrong with that country. So just go back to where you're coming from. So with the population and that you guys have, and how much you people to decide to consume theirs and all that, it's very. I can't say it has been easy, and I can't say that I've conquered the market yet. I haven't. When I'll conquer the market, you will know.
I like that spirit. I mean, Pato Ranking, that what was it? The feature with Patoranking was very. Patoranking is a very good artist and someone you can learn a lot from when it comes to tone, singing, and all of that. So this is also a great platform to tell us, who would you like to collaborate with? You talk about Patoranking, you've spoken about, but I didn't hear about the boy, Wizkid, and all of that. I don't know who you would like to. You have mentioned some people you like their styles, but who would you like to collaborate with?
Presently, Burna Boy inspires me a lot. Not just around the music, around the music creation, but on his performance, how he, his stage appearance and all that, how he carries himself, and also his style of dressing and all that. And he's that one person who, when looking at his story and I see how far he also started and stuff, it really inspires me that nothing is impossible. If he could be that long behind the backstage, I can call it backstage because the days where all the Wiz and the Davidos were making big hits and stuff, but now Burna was not really in the conversation like that, and he's been patient all this time, and he still came, and now he's at the top of his game. So I really admire working with him. Of course, I want to work with David too as well. I want to work with Kiss Daniel.
Kiss is good.
Kiss Daniel to me is one of those African gems, like in music gems that Africa got.
No bad songs.
No bad songs.
I don't even know how he does it.
Hits. It's always a hit back to back.
Always.
Fantastic, really, and we're here for this. Yep. Every step of the way. I mean, we love you. I'm sure you can tell. Nigerian market. I know you did a video, like a vox pop, where you're asking people, do you know Kocee? And that's brilliant. That shows how intentional you are about your craft. You went to the streets, asked people. Fine, a lot of people know dough spaghetti.
I think two people they have heard the sound somewhere, but they don't know the artist. So
and then they finally got to see. By the way, the way you even infuse some culture of northern Nigeria, or what we see around people that make the May spaghetti,
egg
and spaghetti. So it was like the meshai and all of that. So ask them to make eggs and spaghetti. So it's quite interesting how you approach your craft. But you strike me, when people look at you, they see your craft, but they wonder what your story is. You strike me in Nigeria, they'll say you look like an Ajebota. You know what Ajebota is, right? Yeah, so you strike me as an Ajebota. So tell us about your background. Who is Kocee?
I'm not Ajebota.
That before it, just tell you the story.
Well, I can say I'm not from a wealthy family. Well, I'm just from an average family where we could have 2 square meals a day, So my dad was a retired taxi man and mechanic, and then my mom is a retired nurse. So I'm the last child of 10. So every holidays I'll go to school and then come back to my mom's shop, and so we were selling wine and whiskey. So every time I'll come back and serve people, I was actually like barman now. So till my mom struggled with my dad to finance my education until I backed my bachelor's degree in business management. Then music came in after my friend made me listen to Sarkodie for the first time. So it seems like there was a call. It seems like there was a call, but somebody had to come, because it's not like after bachelor's I was thinking of doing my master's. Music wasn't there. So since he made me listen to Sarkodie, this love and passion for music just came in that day. I started downloading all his songs, all his EPs, his albums and stuff, started listening to them, sounding like him. Sometimes I was speaking Tree at one point in time. Yes, that's how passionate I am. If I want to know something, if I want to learn it, I will do everything till I get it. So I got my first recording deal with Big Dreams. They signed me through seeing one of my freestyles on the media and stuff. So they called me. It was one of the biggest labels back then. So I was like, oh wow, thank God. So I signed with them. From there, it's been back to back. Our contract got finished. Then I had to take forward as an independent artist. Started producing myself and having my own team. and all that. So it's basically
from barman to a man with bars.
Oh,
right.
lyrics.
That's some bars.
That's
right
you could
there.
take that line and put on your next song.
Brilliant.
So let's get back to Cameroon.
Yes,
Nigerians don't know so much about the music there, apart from people like Libianca and a few others, you know. So paint us a scenario of how the music space works there. I know it's predominantly French, say 80% French, and you're from the English, 20% of that population.
Yep.
Paint a scenario. Maybe since you've lived enough in Nigeria, because it looks like you're literally in Nigeria. So in terms of your comparative analytics, you can posit, pick a scenario from Nigeria to help us paint a picture. Because this is Africa. It's a big continent where we're over 1 billion now, 53 or 54 countries. There's a lot we can do together. So walk us through the space called music space in Cameroon.
Actually,
and maybe mention some names that we're not familiar with.
Yeah, the likes of Kocee, Stanley, Jovi.
Kocee seated here.
The French actually dominates back home. French actually dominates. Like you got to sing in French. Trust me. Because the English community is very, very small. Very, very small. The English community, actually, they share border with Ecom. I think the Calabar people, Cross River, so you can buy bread here in Cameroon, you go and drink tea here, you know, so that's how close they are. That's why you see a lot of English-speaking Cameroonians. They can easily relate with people here. Like most of the times, I can say that because English is my first
language.
Yeah, so.
Where are you from in Cameroon? Just
I was born in Kumba.
Okay.
That's the southwest.
So it's close to South Nigeria, right?
Yeah.
That's
so
the Igbo in you, I can see.
Yeah, a little bit of that. So actually, it's the French music that dominates, and most of the times I see that. Like I was on live with White Money today, and I asked him to name 2 Cameroonian artists that he knows, just 2. He said I'm the only Cameroonian artist that he knows.
We know Libianca.
Well, I mean,
I get it. Oh yeah.
Libianca, Libianca. Though we don't really take her Cameroonian. She's more American and stuff. She grew up there and stuff. So we put her on that diaspora.
So you go do that in Cameroon. Nigeria, we claim ourselves. Also.
No, we claim her.
If you do well, even in Finland,
we'll say you're Nigerian.
We don't play with her.
We claim her. But I'm saying that, for example, if there's supposed to be like a local award ceremony and stuff like that, obviously Libianca will not be around now because she lives in the US, you know. So she's representing us over there and representing us globally, you know, and. They will still, for those now who are actually in Cameroon, though, you definitely need to, you know, get to sing in French for your music to penetrate. But now when I asked why I've known him, he said he knows just me. And I was shocked, like, but we have the likes of Stanley, who have done a song with Davido, who has done a song with Mr. Easy, Blanche Bailey has done a song with Buju and Joe Boy. Now, why is it possible that, you know, you don't know? And that's why I did that census, and I went to the street and really asked, like, okay, I want to understand. You know, some people were like, why would you do that, bro? You're a big artist, why would you do that? I said, just know that if they don't know me, all of you are there too. So all of you know, say, when I get work to do. Because if they don't know me, just forget it. So it means we all have a lot of work to do. And that's because, speaking with a lot of Nigerians, I think a lot of them just know that Cameroon is all about French. They just know that it's French. Parlez-vous, like they're gonna say. So, but I try every time
we know him, we know him, your president for beer.
Yeah, I mean, you have to know him.
Well, we cannot end this conversation without talking about jollof, right? Because that's the most interesting part. But you have to think before you answer these questions.
Yes, sir.
Nigerian jollof or Cameroonian jollof? Think very well. You know you want to do collaboration with Nigerian artists. Which one?
Use jollof, say my people now.
I will ask it. So choose one before we round up.
Honestly, I'm gonna say Cameroonian jollof. Why? Let me explain. Let me explain. I understand that Nigerian jollof is a thing here, but back home, we don't. It's not when we're actually naming menus and stuff. We don't really name jollof rice like that. Like, it's not actually part of a serious conversation. But I see how serious it is here and
it
also
in
Ghana, and I see that is obviously. I don't think you're gonna tell me Cameroonian jollof is better than Nigerian jollof.
Always patriotic.
Yeah, patriotic.
Yeah, so
okay.
We start from there. You know,
choose it to be patriotic.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's very smart of you. So Nigeria would hopefully play against Cameroon again.
So Ghana will fight against
Joshua again. So we'll see then. But we need to wrap up on a high.
Yeah.
We need to hear something from you. The barman that has now become the man with the bars. So you have to give us some of these bars, perhaps from your latest song, Credit Alert, or from 2 Egg Spaghetti. That's a transition, right?
Yeah. This is spaghetti.
Yeah.
So you want like an acapella or
anyone?
We can give
That's
you
your camera, by the way.
Okay. Well, let's just do an acapella for the latest song, Credit Alert. You want to do a beat with your mom? No debiting for my account. Money go they enter in excessive amount. No debiting for my account. Pounds and dollars go they flip up and down. Only credit alert, no debit alert. Hope you understand. Only credit alert. For BJF bank. No debiting for my account. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kocee right here on the morning brief.
Right.
Nigerians can relate with that credit alert song.
We do not want
on different levels. Really?
Not now that the dollar is behaving anyhow.
Exactly.
The Naira is rebounding.
But it's getting better.
Absolutely. Kocee, we wish we could go on and on. We can call you Kayode, right?
Yes.
Kayode Kocee. KK, right?
There you go. My namesake, Jan Collins, but we all know him as Kocee. That new song is out, Credit Letter, so make sure you stream that song. Watch the video. He featured Patoranking, produced by Mastercraft. Video was shot by T.G. Omori. So it's a mix of Nigeria and Cameroon. Kocee, thank you so much.
Thank you, too. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We look forward to seeing you on all of the biggest stages across the world.
Thank you.
I will pray for those big collaborations you're looking for.
And we pray most.
You've worked hard enough. I think you deserve.
Absolutely.
You deserve the break-in.
And the best is a Credit Alert. May it continue to come in.
Amen.
Okay.
And that's how we wrap up on the show this morning. It's been fun, really, all of the conversations, but you can continue with us offline, #CTV Morning Brief, and on WhatsApp. I am Kayode Okikelu.
All right, and that's how we round off here. Make sure as you go out, continue to get that credit always on your phone. It's more important than debit, seriously. But that's it on the show. Thank you for watching. I'm Ann Umawodo.
This is welcoming Ann again to the show for the first time. Thank you for watching. I'm Jeffrey Uzama.